Hello everyone, this is Ken's at Fool's Flow, and today is a very exciting day because I'm going to be doing something that I have never done before, and that is modifying one of my tarot decks. So technically this is going to be an oracle deck, but it's my first time ever messing with the original form of any kind of divination tool. So I'm really excited to be doing this with the Sacred Destiny Oracle. I've been drawn to this deck. I've seen it in many people's readings and I love it. It just has this border that I'm not that into. And I always just wanted to see what it would look like without it. So I'm gonna trim most of it off, probably do the corners and edge the sides with some pretty colors that go with the color scheme. And yeah, we're just gonna see how it goes as we go, but I am really curious to see how this comes out. So if you wanna see this journey I'm about to go on, thanks for being here and let's see what happens. So right away, I need to give major credit to the YouTube channel Boho Tarot. The creator there has a lot of different videos about deck modification that I will link in the description of this video, but I basically learned everything about what I'm about to do from her channel. So if you want to know more about the logistics of modifying a deck, she is an expert and has a whole playlist of videos that'll help you with that. So check that out in the description if you would like. I will summarize the key parts of this process, but her videos are really, really good. So I would recommend looking at those if you're interested in doing this yourself. But you know, if you're here just to watch this process, then there will be definitely timestamps in the description if you want to skip ahead to the end product. And I will of course explain what I'm doing to an extent. I just needed to shout that out because I literally got all of the tools that she recommended and that she uses all the time. Like, I was like, I could put a ton of research into looking for these myself, or I can trust a pro. So let's see how these go. I have not used them yet. I mean, I tested this side corner punch out a little bit, but I'm super curious to see how this goes. So obviously I'm not going to film every single second of this, but I will try to capture it as best I can. So thank you for being here, and without further ado, let's get going on this journey. Okay, so setting this to the side, let's take a look at the deck itself. Very, just, I mean, absolutely gorgeous. I love that the backs, you know, it just easily can be trimmed because there isn't an edge, there isn't like any kind of design you'd be cutting off. And then if you look at the actual cards, you can see that they have these borders and they are pretty. I'm almost like in this moment like doubting myself. No, but I want to do this, and yeah, I'm gonna leave the keywords at the bottom. Part of me was like, what if I just wrote it? That was something, like a suggestion I saw in a video today, like why not just write the words on the cards, which is an interesting idea. Of course I want to look at like what this is going to look like. This deck is so beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful cards. So let's use this as an example to make sure this is definitely what I want. I'm just going to use some cards to cover up the edges. So this is approximately, this is going to be approximately the look that I'm going for. Just ignore the other cards. So what do we think? Obviously there's going to be rounded corners. I think this looks really cool. It is almost kind of tempting to just go all in and make this like a really intuitive deck or something like that. But I could always do that later, you know. You can always trim more. You can't go backwards. But I don't know, I feel like this will be good. Let's look at another card in this little setup here. These are just so stunning. Like, come on now. Why distract with a border, you know? So yeah, I think I'm happy with how this looks. So now that I've confirmed the design I want to go with, which is what you see here, I am going to start measuring things out. So a really important part of cutting decks, to again give you some of just the key points that others will tell you, is that you want to trim one side at a time. This will ensure that the deck is even, you know, even if something's like the slightest bit off, every card will be off in that way. If you try to readjust to trim one card at a time, it's just going to be a disaster. It'll take longer, first of all. Second of all, they will be uneven. They won't shuffle unevenly. Might look not very good. So yes, and of course there always is a risk of ruining a deck. I am willing to take that risk today. So let's get into the process now of actually aligning this with the sluicer. I don't want to say guillotine. Maybe we can just go with cutter. Don't know what the right word is, but let's set that up now. Okay, so the very first step for this is creating a guide so that it'll be way faster cutting all these cards. We won't have to measure out every single time. I mean, if that was the case, if that was the main way to do this, I probably wouldn't even be attempting this right now, because that is just the kind of time that I do not have. But as it is, we don't have to worry about that. So again, you want to err on the side of not cutting enough off and taking more after. But yeah, something that's important to consider as well is that there are slight shifts in printing for each card, so you might want to compare multiple cards in the deck to see. Obviously it's going to be almost imperceptible to the eye, but there are differences, and so I guess you want to err on the side of whichever one is the most shifted over. But you know, I'd rather in this case err on the side of taking off more of the internal design and just ensuring that the borders are gone on all of these. So now, as I'm lining this up, an important piece of the puzzle here is having washi tape. That way you're able to tape down the cards without damaging them when you remove the tape. And you need to tape down the cards so that they're held firmly in place while you're experimenting with this. So up here on the top, you know, there's this line here that will help you get something to be perfectly perpendicular. And then taping this down. Once I do get the position that I like, I will bring in this side ruler here and tape the ruler down. And then it'll be as simple as just moving each card. See, now look at that, I bumped this. It'll be as simple as moving each card into this guide, and I won't have to worry as much. It's just really important that you set up this first card really accurately. You know, kind of an investment for all of the rest of the edges on that side for the whole deck. So anyway, so I'm feeling confident about this. I think if anything, I might not be cutting enough, but again, that's what I would prefer to do. So let's just see what happens. Gotta take that first plunge at some point, right? So here goes nothing. Oh yeah, and you want to hold the card too, so that, you know, depending on the material, it could start moving. Obviously this is going to be really short. Okay, so that did end up moving. Okay, well, now we know, did not tape that down enough. That was a good learning lesson. I wish I knew how to remove this guide. Okay, so I'm glad that I got this on camera because the card shifted while I was doing this. So grateful that nothing catastrophic happened because I'm going to be cutting all of this off. But this is why it's important to tape things down and hold it down while you're doing it, because otherwise the card might shift. So I got really lucky with this one. We're definitely going to need to do this again. And that was a good lesson. Let's see how the back is looking already. Taking a look at the back, just as a preview. Still looks great, nothing's disrupted. Very convenient about this deck. So, back at it again. Move that all the way up. I'm really glad I own this. Like, I'm totally gonna be using this slicer for other things anyway, so definitely a good investment. I'm taping this down, so this time, hopefully, nothing is going to move. This is absolutely not moving this time. I'm gonna hold it down anyway. This guide is really pesky. You know, this really helps align things at the top, so here's hoping that this is gonna work. Okay. So this did confirm my suspicion that things were at an angle, because as you can see, there is still a white line. So this might be the printing, if anything, but there's still a little bit of white here. So we're gonna need to keep going until we get rid of that. I am pushing this all the way up against this guide, so I am thinking that this was a printing thing, because I know that I can't push this any further. I don't want to take this too far. I'm gonna take it just far enough. Let's try this position. So let's give this a go. One more time. Yay! So be careful when you do this. Don't make the mistake of moving this. You need to keep this in place until you get this in place. We're now going to memorialize exactly where this card was. This is really important. I'm going to push it all the way up against this, and I am going to tape it down until I know that it won't shift. And then once that's stable, ideally, as long as there aren't cards that are more shifted and then we'll have to go back, we should be able to move forward on this side. So it's really exciting. Okay, so I feel confident that these are flush. Do I feel confident that this won't move? That is the question. Maybe I'll just be like really neurotic and put a little bit more tape. I'll reuse it, so no worries, but I just want to be so certain that this won't move. Okay. That is firm. This is flush. Now you can look at how this lines up. Everything is right next to each other. Yeah, I'm like being nervous that it's somehow like not completely flush, but it is. It is. This is what I've got. So I'm gonna take the plunge now and remove this. Add this as one last extra piece of tape. Of course, on the channel I've been referencing, the person is a lot more confident than this. But that's okay. This is my first time. I think it's good to be cautious. and I'm gonna move this out. And so again, I'm not going to, this looks so weird. It's like kind of playing tricks on my mind, like it almost doesn't look straight, but I'm sure it'll work out in the end. So I'm gonna lay this to the side and I'm gonna move on to the next one. So let's give that a go, see what this looks like, see how the guide is working. So it looks pretty straight. It still almost feels like it's on an angle, but again, that could be the printing and not necessarily anything I'm doing wrong here. I'm so paranoid, y'all. I don't want to be doing this wrong. But again, once you've committed, you know, everything is going to be the same type of wrong, so it's okay. And it's true that, like, there will be, see that? I don't like that. I do not like that. I don't like that it moves. I'll hold all this down with a vice-like grip. All right, here we go. The whole thing is shifting. How do I stop that? I guess it just is trippy like that. Okay, I'm holding it down really carefully. Watch your fingers too. It's probably good to do it pretty confidently so that you don't delay. So now I'm gonna keep going with the cards until I've done every card in the deck on this side, and then we will regroup and keep it moving. Hi y'all, so obviously the lighting has changed. It got dark. It wouldn't be a video on my channel if it hadn't gotten dark outside, but I'm plowing ahead. I have taken off the sides from all of the cards. The first few are definitely a little bit wonky, so I might have to go out of my way to correct that, but nothing awful, you know. So far so good, and yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing on. I'm gonna do this side first and then we'll take care of the top last. At least we don't have to do the bottom, right? I'm definitely happy about that. So now I'm gonna be continuing on the same way with this side. Hello, okay, so little update. I've done all of the sides. The cards are looking really cool. I was worried about them being aligned, but honestly, they've been working out great. And now I'm gonna take the tops off. So I will update again once this part is off and we're down to the size that I'm going for, which is so nice and small, by the way. I'm excited, I'm excited. But yes, I am going to slice off of these tops now. Okay, so many clippings later. I don't really know what happened. A couple of these are a little bit uneven. I'm not gonna lie. A couple somehow just came out a little bit shorter than the others. But mostly totally spot on and super excited about it. The next step, now that we have trimmed this down to what I can't wait to run through my fingers, like honestly, this truly is gonna be such a nice size. It's time to round the corners. So here's hoping that this thing is good. I've obviously tested it a little bit, and yeah, I'm gonna do the medium size. It comes in 3 sizes. I'm gonna do the medium one for this. So yeah, I will report back once I have punched all of these edges. So I wanted to make sure that I show the cornering process. I'm almost done with it, but I wanted to show it for y'all. So I'm using the medium size, as I was saying, and I am just going through. So you kind of fit it in, make sure that it's positioned well, give it a firm press. You don't want to be like half-hearted about it. And there you have it. Yeah, it's quite easy compared to the slicing part. So I've just been going through, and I will show the end result when I'm done. Hello, hello. It is the next day and I am done. As you can see from all of these trimmings right here, it's really quite the spread. I wish I had like some kind of use for them. Maybe I should think about that. But anyway, deck is done. I was going to edge it, but I'm just not really feeling that right now. Like I don't know. I kind of like the way it is. I could always go in and do that another time. I think part of me does just want to be done. I don't know. I'm worried about the ink going. Like, even though the back is, I would, you know, match this color scheme. Like, some of the cards are really different color schemes because this deck is like pretty rainbow. So I think I'm just gonna leave that as is. As you can see, everything has been cornered. If you notice the table just move, that's because my dog just settled in. Hi. You gonna put your head on my foot? Yeah. She loves being involved when I'm making videos. Anyway, I am gonna do a flip through now and show you what the whole deck looks like. So if you jumped ahead to hear from the beginning, hi, welcome back. Let's get going with the flip through. Okay, so final thoughts. Again, I am so happy with how this deck came out. I think it's beautiful. It's such an amazing deck, and now you can look at the images in a different context without as much border. I think the cards look really good. Overall, they came out not perfectly the same size as to be expected. I did try my best. Interestingly enough, they are pretty much identical when it comes to each side. Somehow where I ended up going awry was the top. So there are a couple that are shorter, but nothing really noticeable, honestly, and hopefully it won't affect shuffling since I mostly will probably do it from the side anyway. These fit really well in my hand. I really like it. As far as the tools that I used, I definitely would recommend getting a full-size trimmer. I kind of knew that I would regret not doing that, and I did, because you need more room to be able to tape your ruler down and stuff like that. So yeah, if you can swing the full one, I would get that. But otherwise it worked pretty well. I was really paranoid and anxious the whole time about getting everything right, but I'm glad that I pushed through it because the outcome is really good. And I'll give it a shuffle now. So yes, this was my modification process of the Sacred Destiny Oracle by Denise Linn. Again, if you want more detailed instructions on how to trim and different ways to modify a deck, many different techniques, I again will recommend Boho Tarot. I will again recommend Boho Tarot's channel. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say, but I would recommend that channel. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and going on this journey with me. I hope the final flip through is satisfying, and I hope you learned something. And let me know in the comments if you're working on any decks right now. Are you modifying anything? Did this inspire you? Are you going to try this? Cut different ways? I don't know. Let me know. So again, thank you so much. Take care, and I hope to see you in another video soon. Bye!